Chrissy here. This is show number 3. I've just finished up a reading on Trump versus Pence, and yes, you got to see me. Hello again. Okay. Yeah. And I mentioned at the end of the reading, with the comparisons, so many comparisons between this situation and Watergate, that one of the tipping points in Watergate was Nixon being ordered by the courts to release the Oval Office tapes. So in this reading, I've got 2 questions I want to answer. I'm going to use the yes-no format that I'm quite fond of, actually, since I started. Yeah. And the first is, and it's going to be on this side, is are the Senate Republicans, and they're the ones who have to turn. As many House Republicans can turn as you like, but unless the Senate Republicans turn, or enough of them turn, nothing's going to happen. Are the Senate Republicans planning to turn on Trump? And there was some hint of that, I think, in the previous reading. And on this side, you know, it's a big kerfuffle in the courts about Trump's tax returns. I do believe that Steve Mnuchin is going to be ordered to release them, and release them in full. Is the release of those tax returns, yeah, I'm crappy at that. Is the release of those tax returns going to be the tipping point for the Trump presidency? I had to put Cameo in with my husband. If you hear his voice raised slightly in the background, it's probably him telling Cameo to get out of the way of the screen. Sorry. If you watch the Trump versus Pence video, you'll know that she was quite determined to have my attention. Anyway. The Senate GOP, are they planning to turn against Trump? Are the Senate GOPs planning to turn it against Trump? Are the Senate GOP members planning, Senate Republicans planning to turn against Trump? Are the Senate Republicans planning to turn against Trump? Are the Senate Republicans planning to turn against Trump? On the bottom here, King of Swords, Trump. Interesting. 1, 2, 3. I always find this a little bit awkward to do because I am right-handed, but no. Queen of Swords, the Hanged Man, King of Pentacles. Queen of Swords is a maybe, Hanged Man is a maybe, and King of Pentacles is a yes. Who's the Queen of Swords there? I'm talking about Senate Republicans. There are 3 female Republican senators who I think that could be Susan Collins, but somehow I don't think so. Could be Martha McSally, or it could be the lady from Alaska. I'll just look up her name. I'm a great admirer of hers, actually. Lisa Murkowski. That's her name. She doesn't always toe the party line, and she was staunchly against Kavanaugh, and would not change her mind, would not be cowed into changing her mind. Very strong, resourceful lady, and not at all afraid for sticking up for her state and stating what her state needs. I think that's Lisa Murkowski. I think she'd make a great Senate Majority Leader. I think she'd bring a more fair and balanced approach back to the table. King of Pentacles, old, established, stable. I think this might be Mitch McConnell actually, and I think that even though he's a yes, he's a yes too. There's been talk going around about him wanting to get rid of Trump now as well, because I think he feels like Trump's done as much as he can for him. Gee, imagine Mitch McConnell turning on somebody. Now, at the bottom of this deck is the Empress. So many possibilities on how this may go down. So, will the Senate Republicans turn on Trump? Senate Republicans turn on Trump. I'll put the deck upside down. The World is a yes. Two of Swords is maybe. Nine of Pentacles is a yes. And again, it's interesting. The Queen of Swords, who I think is Lisa Murkowski, the completion of the journey for somebody, saying yes. I think she could challenge Mitch McConnell, I think, for the leadership in the Senate. The Two of Swords with the Hangman, well, that's not really that unusual. They're both maybe cards. Yeah, they're both maybe cards. Maybe some people are still trying to find their way with that. So I think quite a few of them want to, but they're still waiting to see what happens and aren't quite clear about where they want to go yet. Mitch McConnell, I think the biggest reason he'll want to do it is if his autonomy as Senate Majority Leader is threatened. And I think that's the biggest reason he will do it. Now, the other question I wanted to ask was, if the courts win and they order Mnuchin to hand over Trump's tax returns for however long they deem, and it is in the Constitution that that's what they have to do. If everything I've heard and read is correct, and that it's all documents requested shall be handed over to Congress. So I'm going to just shuffle again. Ooh. Defences flew out. Defences! Woohoo! Joke about the Italian Prime Minister just in defences, but yeah, no, that just flew in my head. So I'm building up defences, but that's just some palings. I thought you were going to build up your armaments and your military. No, I'm building up defences. Oh, sorry. Oh dear. That just passed through my mind with defences. Yeah. So the Nine of Wands. I'm not going to be able to look at the Nine of Wands for a while now and not think I'm building defences. So, and no disrespect to Italians. I grew up in a town in North Queensland. I'm not Italian myself, but I grew up in a town in North Queensland which is a real enclave of Italians, and they can be wonderful, joyous, happy people, and I do love them dearly. So if anyone comes across my videos. Big hug and shout out to all of you. Okay, so is Trump being ordered, is Mnuchin being ordered to hand over Trump's tax returns? Will that be a tipping point? Six of Pentacles, yes. King of Swords, maybe. Three of Pentacles, yes. It's interesting that the maybe is the King of Swords, which is Trump as a Gemini. We don't want them to. So, what's on the bottom? Oh, the bottom is the Five of Wands. Conflict. It's going to cause a real kerfuffle. I can just imagine being in the White House when that news comes down that the tax returns have gone to Congress, because as it was always going to happen. Oh, I would not, I'd be calling in sick that day if I got news of that. In fact, I'd probably just quit. I wouldn't have worked in the Trump White House, but that's me. I'm an Australian, you know. And in all fairness, I can say I would not work in a Scott Morrison administration either. I would not accept a... Okay. 1, 2, 3. Queen of Wands. Ooh. Nancy Pelosi in the House of Reps. That's a yes. 5 of Cups. That's a no. Ace of Cups is a yes. And a new relationship. Now that's interesting. Okay. Yes. They're going to have to share the information about the money. They're going to have to give over the information about the money to Nancy and her Congress and her House, the House. This may be, and no, this is Trump saying, no, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. No, maybe I can still get out of it. No, I don't want them to, because it's going to lead to loss for me. But a maybe and a no, really, really overwhelmed by 4 yeses here. Yes. And group work. Yes, the information about the money, and it's going to cause a group. Yes, the information about money. It's going to be the start of a new relationship with group work. It's for at least with regard to the tax returns. I think the Republicans and Democrats are finally going to realise that they both have to look at it and form a new tenuous relationship. If it was a stronger relationship, this is a new relationship. They are going to be working with the Democrats on it, because, as I said, that's going to be the tipping point. I'm going to ask one more yes-no question in the centre here. Tarot is not good with timeline. I'm going to ask a general timeline question. Tarot, if you can put any time to it, it's minor arcana, can be days to weeks or weeks to months. Court cards generally indicating King and the Queen a bit longer, and I think the higher minor arcana, like the 5s to the 10s or the 6 to the 10s, a bit of a longer period as well. say that's weeks to months, whereas pages and knights, days to weeks, and aces to fives, days to weeks. So I'm going to ask the cards and Major Arcana looking at months. Defences came out again. Sorry. I'm building defences. Oh dear. And building the walls too, according to Trump. So maybe he's going to try yet again to use the nation's defences to build defence. Anyway, what I'm asking is, once that tipping point happens, will it be a short timeline or a long timeline we're looking at? So I think we'll go, will it be relatively quick? Okay. Forming questions is, okay. Once the tipping point happens, will the end of Trump's presidency be relatively quick? Like days to weeks? Will it be days to weeks? Will the end of Trump's presidency be days to weeks after the tipping point? Five of Swords, victory at all cost, walking away. Ten of Swords. He's still going to try and win. He's still going to try and hang in there. Victory at all costs. That's a 5. That's days to weeks. An 8. Weeks to months. 10. Weeks to months. But it is going to end. The 10 is an end of something. Signifies the end of something. So it is going to end, but it's more likely to be weeks to months after the tipping point rather than days to weeks. And when I mean weeks, I mean something like 6 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks. So I mean, that means it could be 2 months being over the 6-week mark, but it could be a little bit longer. So we'll ask the same question. Will the end of Trump's presidency be days to weeks after the tipping point? Looking out over something. Maybe looking for somewhere he can go. On the bottom. Queen of Pentacles. Rebecca Mercer, apparently that is. Never really taken much notice of her. For some reason, to me, she seems like she's not going to matter in history in the end. Okay, so we've got Page of Wands, which is a yes, but again, it's a page, and that goes with the 5, and that's the 5 of Swords is no. So we've got a yes and a no. It's unlikely to happen in a relatively early stages. we've got two major arcanas, the Hermit, which is a 9, and the Moon, which is an 18. It's going to take some time before he does walk away, and he is going to walk away, and he's going to be alone and isolated, with the light having been shone on everything. Everything. And of course, the Moon, of course, is, I know it's not going to be relatively quick. It's an 18. So I think we're looking at a good couple of months. It's not going to be months to years. It's going to be a couple of months, weeks to months. Anywhere from 6 to 3 months maybe. And it is going to end. That's my reading. Thank you very much. And I will talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.